everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we have a pretty exciting announcement. We are going to be announcing and demoing the release of our new app. The purpose of this app is not to replace the Egg Rider app, it's more as an additional app to be used alongside it. The Egg Rider doesn't have every single feature that we would like, and it's not the developer's responsibility to please us, so we decided to make our own to cover the gap in parameters that were not controllable in that app. And it will work with any ASI controllers tuned by us. Unfortunately, we are under contractual obligation to make the app only compatible with controllers that we have tuned. So we apologize, although there are other dealers out there of ASI controllers who are going to be releasing their own apps. So you should still have that opportunity there. As of now, the app is in a pretty early release state. Neither Cole nor I are app developers. We actually started developing this app only 5 days ago with a little bit of help from ASI and a lot of help from Google. So don't flame us too much for the bad UI. We are going to improve it over time. That's the nice thing about apps. We can send out updates. It'll be new UI and we'll add more features. As of right now, there are just a couple of base features that we really want to get out to everyone. And then as time goes on, we'll make it better and better as we do with our tunes and our products, so you can look forward to that. All right, so as we mentioned, the app is going to initially be Android release only. And for anyone who develops apps, you know, it's kind of a pain to get apps approved for the Apple App Store. And for an Android, you can just send a file and literally download it directly to the phone. So we'll open it up here. This is the main page here. We have our About page. Down here is a link that will take you to our website where you can get more information about the app, and we'll go into details about how to use it and what the certain parameters do. Here we have our parameters page. That is where you're going to be making the majority of your adjustments, and this is subject to change. So this is just a demo for now, but we'll go to our parameters page here. And immediately it's going to tell you that you should not be making parameter changes with your wheel on the ground. So we have our bike up on the stand right now. Typically, this isn't a problem, but it's just best practice to keep your bike, the wheel off the ground when you make changes. So we'll confirm the wheel's off the ground. Now we're going to go search for our bike, and it's going to show up right there. So we'll connect and click on it and connect to it. It's going to automatically connect here and take us back to the parameter page. As you can see immediately, Cole likes his brake cutouts turned off, so it's going to give us a warning that the brake cutouts are disabled. And you can see that there with that toggle being selected. Now we have a couple of things going on here on the main UI. So we have a start motor calibration button at the top, and we'll get into that in a bit. You have your disconnect, your write, and your save to flash. So let's go over a couple of things here. So your disconnect button, whenever you connect to the bike, it should be an automatic connection. And if we would like to manually disconnect, we can do that. And your live monitoring down here, as well as this throttle real-time voltage, will no longer be monitoring because we are no longer connected. So if we click connect, it will connect and it'll reread in all these parameters again, as you can see. And we have a couple other buttons here. The right button is pretty self-explanatory. It's just like the right button in the Egg Rider app. You're going to need to click that anytime you change parameters. And then right below that, we have a button called Save to Flash. And what that does is whenever you hit that, not only is it going to update your bike to the latest revision of the tune we've put out, so anyone who's ever updated, or anyone who bought their bike prior to our latest batch, anytime you come in here and click this button, it's going to send through the latest update. That's a pretty cool feature. Beyond that though, after you click right, once you click Save to Flash, it'll save all of these parameters directly to the controller. So when you turn the bike off and back on, all of your all your changes will be saved. So let's get into some specific functionality here. At the top here, we can see there's some throttle tuning. Whenever you tune your throttle, you should really be deactivating it so that it is no longer live. We can simply do that by hitting this toggle, and you can see that the throttle is no longer active. So if you keep an eye on this parameter down here, your real-time throttle voltage, you can see I'm twisting the throttle right now. That value is changing. However, the wheel is not spinning because we've deactivated the throttle. So the tuning process kind of looks like this. Your throttle is not twisted, and you want to take a look at this value. That's 0.04. That value goes over here in your throttle off voltage. We can then go full throttle and see it's around 4.93. That value would go here in your throttle full voltage. And then your deadband down here is going to be how far your throttle has to increase in voltage before it activates the motor. So you would do 0.04 plus whatever this value is, and that is when your throttle will activate. So as I slowly twist the throttle here, it would be activating at 0.14, that value there. And I can show you that. I will now reactivate the throttle, and you can hear the motor start to hum slightly at 0.14, and then it activates. So now we're going to talk about the motor calibration feature. We're going to get a new angle for that, and we'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to show you how the motor calibration feature works. This is one of those things that most bikes will not need a motor calibration. However, now that this is a functionality of an app we will be releasing, it's always recommended that you do one just because it will make your bike run better. So we're going to start our motor calibration here. And the first thing it's going to tell you is, warning, place bike on stand. Motor will make buzzing noise for the first step, but will not spin. So if your bike's not up on a stand yet, you can put it on one. Ours is, so I'll click begin. And after a couple seconds here, it's going to say, for the second step, the rear wheel will spin. Make sure it is off the ground and able to spin for up to 25 seconds. At this point, we recommend that you put a hand on the bike and maybe spin the wheel a couple times by hand to make sure it's free. All right, as we mentioned, you really need to make sure this is free of obstruction. That includes the stand at the front of the wheel. A good couple spins with the hand is always the best way to make sure it's free. Once you begin the calibration, it will not stop spinning, so it is crucial that you make sure it is off the ground and free of obstruction. And once you're ready, we can click spin wheel. After a couple more seconds here, we'll get the completion page. There we are, success, motor calibration complete. So we can click OK now, and we'll go ahead and write those, and then we'll click save to flash. And as I mentioned, save to flash updates your controller as well as saves everything to flash. So it's going to say success, please turn bike off at the key and back on, and we'll hit OK. We're going to do that, and then we're going to show you a couple more features, and that'll be it.
If you find yourself in a situation where your throttle seems unresponsive, when you twist the throttle and nothing happens, something that could be causing this is a sticky brake sensor. Occasionally, and this has happened to me, your brake sensor will get stuck and trick the controller into thinking that your brake is depressed. If you want to troubleshoot this, you can disable the brake cutouts, hold your brake in, and try it, or it doesn't matter. And if it works with that turned on and doesn't work with it turned off, then you can assume that one of your brake sensors is sticky. I was out on a ride once and my bike just stopped working completely, and I had to pull out backdoor, which normal people don't have access to, and I was able to diagnose the issue. Since then, it got unstuck and stopped working again, but since I want to avoid that issue happening, I always choose to keep my brake cutouts turned off. But for someone that doesn't have access to backdoor, they never would have been able to figure that out. With this app, now that this is something that you can do by yourself, and we hope that it helps some people. So if we turn that toggle off, you can see that if I hold the brake in, the throttle is unresponsive. If your sensor is broken and your brake lever is not depressed, it will still do the same thing where nothing happens when you twist the throttle because it thinks it's depressed.
So the last couple of settings we want to talk about here, you have your rated system voltage. We did mention in a couple of videos ago that this can now be changed with the egg rider. However, you can also change it here and save it to your flash. So whenever you turn the bike off and then back on, that value will save. And it's important to note when you're doing these changes that the egg rider really should be off. The egg rider actually overwrites settings when it's on. So you want to change all of this stuff with the egg rider off, save it, and then you can turn the egg rider on. But for example here, if I saved a flash with this at 60 volt and then turn on my egg rider and that's set to 72 volts, it's going to overwrite to 72 volts. So try to remain consistent there. And just another couple things down here is the live monitoring section. You have your controller temperature, motor temperature, your real-time voltage, real-time current, your regen current, and then your motor RPM. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video, we plan to continuously update this app, so you should expect this to expand with more features as well as more parameters that you can control. All right, so as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is for EMB customers only. So we put a tune on here that was not from us. You can see when we go to connect here, it is going to say this controller doesn't appear to be tuned by EMB. If you're getting this message and you bought your controller from us, it could be that you were on one of the tunes from our first 2 batches that we released. If that's the case, shoot us an email. We can help you out with that. But as we mentioned, this isn't our call. It is something that we had to contractually implement into this app. All right, that's all we have for now. We will be posting on our Facebook page, our Instagram, and a YouTube community post. Once this app is available for download, there will be instructions on our website. We plan to have it available within the next week or so be on the lookout for that. As always, we really appreciate you stopping by and watching the video. Have a good day.